Good morning, everybody. It is 7:28 in the morning on this rainy Monday, the 25th of June. I have moved my entire office. Well, my wife and I moved my office from the downstairs office up into another room upstairs, and that is my temporary office while we are redoing our basement downstairs. Well, not the whole basement, just a good half of it. Had to tear up all of our floor again, remove all the baseboards, shoe molding, and probably cut about 3 feet of drywall off. Had to get rid of a lot of the framing as well, and doing a lot of shop vacuum water and a lot of dehumidifiers and a lot of industrial fans. So it's been a hell of a weekend. But when you live in a river city, water tables are a little high, and hydrostatic pressure just flows up. Nothing you can do about it. Got to deal with it. All right. But let's go ahead and take a look at our markets. Hope you guys actually had a great weekend. Hope it was fun, relaxing. Hope you guys got rejuvenated and are ready to go towards this week. And so let's look at what we have going. We only had one real trade looking at on Friday to take, and that was the US dollar Canadian dollar. We wanted to go short at 132.8. We haven't really deviated much from that, and that short is still a good one to have. That is a very good short, because we know how extended this guy is on the longer time frames. And I want to point out something that I think is really kind of neat, and it's on this perspective. The US dollar Canadian dollar on Friday, it shot up and it bounced right up on the upper band of this arc, and that's where it pretty much halted. I'm on a 15-minute here. And so that turned into a beautiful short opportunity, and we're saying a short on the US dollar Canadian dollar because we are crazy extended here. If we look at the daily, we are at the mid point of the law of vibration. We are in a 45-day cycle, and the 45-day cycle is very important. Let me pull up. I'm looking at it on my written notes, not my notes on the computer. But so we're in a 45-day cycle right now. 45 days can reverse a trend. It ends blow off or very fast movements, which is what we've had. Moving from low to high in 45 days can also set up a 45-day move straight up, which is 45 days from the low and 90 days from the lows, which is a high probability for reverse. So that is what we are looking at here. So if we were 45 days from a swing low prior, so if we look at the swing that was before this, and I want the date range. I don't want to get. So we were not 45 days from there. We were about, well, I don't know, within that 90-day cycle maybe. Hard to say. Anyways, Gann called the 45 to 49-day cycle as the death zone due to many blow-offs. Right. Of course, there's also like the 42 days are included in there too. So really, anytime between the 42 to 49 day is when, if you notice, you have a pretty clear trending move within that that kind of count. Then you know you are going to have a strong probability, depending, especially on the last, probably 7 days worth of movement, what kind of move you're going to get, because this is a fast move. The last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of moves were pretty fast and pretty accelerated. And we can go back in time and look at some other activity that has shown this and seen reversals based off the daily. The most recent one that I can think of is the pound. when we saw the pound do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of this pretty strong up move, not on very convincing volume, and that just signaled a reversal. So that's what we're looking for here in the US dollar, Canadian dollar. We're looking for a drive lower. Okay, looking at, let's go take a peek at gold here. Oops, gold, gold, gold. On the 4-hour chart, gold, excuse me, this is going to make the Ichimoku system a little bit more difficult to trade and for me to be a good teacher about, because there's a lot of geometrical structure and long-term trending things that are causing me to have a contrary view of what we would be doing with the Ichimoku system on the 4-hour time frame. However, on the hourly, we're looking like we may see a entry here. And so just looking at this current activity where we have we see the cloud ahead is green, that's still good. We need to have the conversion line cross above the baseline. We need the lagging span above the cloud, but price is currently above the cloud. So we're probably looking at the value of 1271.92 as a entry area for a long. And that's based on the 1-hour Ichimoku system. The dollar yen, we're more than likely going to be looking for a short opportunity here. So we have a couple ideas on where we could enter a short. We could re-enter on a test higher above the baseline where we get rejected. So really just we could short at a re-entry to the 109.78 area, or we could short on a cross where price crosses back down below 109.50. So we could do the short at the pullback to the baseline, which is at current one is at 109.78. That's on the 1-hour Ichimoku. Or we could go at a what am I saying? Cross below the conversion line at what's that? 109.51. So a couple short options there on the Ichimoku system with the dollar yen. And I think we're going to see a more favorable return to the 109.50 zone as opposed to going higher. On the hourly, we're pretty elevated in the composite index, and we're approaching, certainly sloping up, continuing to raise towards the overbought conditions. If we look at it on the 4-hour, you know, the cool thing is that if we return back down to that 150 zone, we're probably more than likely going to be in the area on the 4-hour where we cross below with the lagging span. This is looking pretty inherently bearish at the moment, so we should see some nice opportunities to drive lower. US dollar, Canadian dollar, already looked at that one. The pound dollar, oh man. Okay, we looked at this one based, and we went long on this guy only because of the structure, the geometric structure. Now look at this. On the daily, we came down, found support at this angle, this Gann angle here. Bought it up. We crossed back above this arc on the daily, tested it on the daily, held above it. We actually trade on the open last night on Sunday at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon Central Time. We kind of traded below, but now we're currently above it again. We're above the conversion line on the daily and all that jazz. Our biggest area of short-term resistance is at this 133 even zone, but we are more than likely going to break above that. That's more than likely going to hold. And and it's going to be just fine. What was I saying? What was I saying? I was responding to somebody on Skype and that lost my thought. Oh yeah, so we're more than likely going to cross above that 133, and that should be a fairly easy zone for us to get to and trade above, and we should look to trade back up to this angle here because we're following the rule of angles. So rule of angles states that when you break an angle, you're going to move to test the next one. So where's the next angle above us? That is all the way up at this 135.29 zone. And I think that's a pretty normal area to get to because that's right in line with this this natural inner harmonic pivot that lies between 126.82 and 139.15. Additionally, if we want to do a fib retracement of this high and this low down here, we're getting up to that 382 fib retracement. Pretty normal zone to look at for a initial pullback on this downtrend. Now I think we could be inherently bearish still, although we could just be setting up for this could be setting up for the third leg higher. We'll see. I'm not the biggest Elliotician. I don't put a lot of credence into Elliott waves. I think Elliott's more important to identify that there are structures in waves, but trying to figure out the exact ones are what I think with Elliott, what you really just have to know is that price will move at least in 3 waves. All right. If you can just know that, you've got 70% of Elliott that you need to know. That things like to move in three waves. All right. So that's on the pound, and the pound I like the long on the pound here at the current value area, or we could wait on a cross above. But I mean, this is a we'll hold this one for a little bit. Unless something drastic happens to change our minds. Let's see. Although, also on the weekly is the other reason we're very, 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 very much in a supportive buying condition on the weekly chart. So keep that in mind. Taking a look over at the this here, the Aussie dollar, seeing a little sign on the 4-hour chart that we may be changing directions here. Let's bring it down to the hourly, and we can see that we actually have a pretty easy look here to see when we could go long, and that's really when the lagging span crosses back above the price action. So we could just be saying the 74.41. It's a pretty easy trade to look at. When that happens, we'll have the conversion line will cross back above the base. Cloud ahead is green. The lagging span will cross back above price. We'll have all those conditions met for going long. We're coming off of these oversold conditions in the stochastic RSI. That's a good sign. Structurally, in market geometry, we can see that we bounced right off of this angle down here, and so the normal rule to follow is that it'll bounce up to test the next angle, which is all the way back up here. So that with the MAM account. we go. Sweet. All right, we got that. Then let's look at the New Zealand dollar. Oh yeah, its market geometry is all sorts of messed up. It's all over the place. Similar situation. If we want to go long here, looking at this on the hourly, we're definitely looking at the 69.17. If we look at its market geometry from here, we can see that we've got a beautiful double bottom formed coming off of these oversold conditions on the daily. This is really looking to be pretty supportive right now. Looking at it on the weekly, really showing that it wants to drive lower, but I really don't think we'll see that. We're right near the support zone of this major harmonic range at the 68.75. Should really anticipate prices to move higher. We've also got this noticeable kind of if we were to draw the Fibonacci extension, this would be kind of sitting just right on or above that 886 retracement, or that 886 level, something to keep your eye on. And we're sitting right on the 6900 value area, which is you know, pretty standard support. Hard to break below that or above it, so keep our eyes on that. That's looking okay. The euro, so we may be looking at a pretty nice drive higher in the euro possibly. We crossed back above this angle. I'm kind of upset we didn't catch along on this right away, but certainly we broke above this angle, testing this fib level within the square of 144, and then we are looking to see what happens if we break this angle up here. So looking at the 1 hour, you know, I'm looking at the 4 hour chart now to see an entry, and I tell you what, the fact that price going back above this angle here and how that would coincide with some short-term indication of a trend change on the 4 hours pretty strong. If we cross, it's unfortunate that we cross above here and we go above the cloud. The cloud's going to be turning green at some point here soon. The conversion is above the baseline, but the lagging span's not above the cloud yet. We have almost all those conditions met for a long in the 4 hour chart. We just haven't gone above this angle yet, and the lagging span needs to get up there. So we're talking. It's kind of a tricky trade zone too, because the Ichimoku system on the 4 hour would tell us to take a trade when the lagging span were to cross above the cloud, you know, either in time at the 117.44 area, or we'd have to wait until we break above the 117.84. But then that brings us, you know, within 60 pips of an inner pivot, an inner harmonic pivot. So that makes it a little difficult to expect a nice run on a trade here. So it's just something we got to keep our eye on, and certainly maybe watch to see if it would play out. The only way that this would more than likely move up higher and blow is to blast through this on some massive drive higher, but really not seeing any indications of that happening. So entering in now, while it would be, I think, okay, there's just a lot of short-term resistance that I don't think we need to participate in. Euro pound, I don't even want to look at this chart. Pound yen, not much looking at there. Oh, you know what? I want the pound Aussie dollar. Forming somewhat of a head and shoulders here on the 4 hour. However, I wanted to point out that we haven't looked at this chart in a long time. And I think we should, because in the market geometry, follow that rule of angles. That next angle is up at that 190.53. That's a number of pips above. That's a bit of a ways up there. So I'm okay with a long, oops, you know, the 1 hour, 4 hour, we're not really, we're kind of consolidative here. The 1 hour Ichimoku is telling us we're pretty choppy trade. The daily, not giving us a clear direction yet either. We're still in the selling phase, but I tell you what, on the hourly, well, on the hourly, if we wanted to do this lagging span above price above the cloud, 79.25 probably. Not a fan of that price zone either. What do we got on the 4 hour? We need the lagging span to cross back above. And then that would, like, in 8 hours, we would be there. Yeah, 79.19, 79.25. I think that's all. Yeah, that's all. That's good. I like it. I like it. Okay. Actually, I got to pull that one up too. All right. Cool. Otherwise, I don't see much. Oh, yeah. We really got to go over cryptos. Oh, man. Crypto. Big deals in cryptos going on. So let's look at Bitcoin real quick. Bitcoin on the weekly. Okay, we are in a condition for buying on the weekly. We're flattening out on the weekly in the stochastic RSI, which is telling us that we have reached a bottom. And then right on the weekly, this is the law of vibration, the 192-day cycle. The weekly is showing us right on that beginning and the end and the beginning of a square in the law of vibration. Bring us over the daily. We are going to be on that on the 28th, so 3 days away. And we've got this real, let me get rid of this here. We've got this really, really beautiful, bullish looking candlestick. That is, look at that wick. It is massive. Looks like we're finding some buying support here. I had posted an idea on TradingView indicating that we will find a reversal in cryptocurrencies between the 22nd of June and the 7th of July. And the reasons why are because, and as I'm a Gann dude, that time is the reason for trend changes and price action. Okay, trends don't change due to sentiment. They don't change due to news. They don't change due to tweets. They don't change due to some dynamic past support or resistance levels. They don't change due to some moving average crossover. They don't change due to oscillators being in elevated conditions. They don't change due to trend lines. Trends change because of a set pattern in time. And so trends change due to a set path and pattern that man cannot deviate from, because we're really slaves to this pattern. Okay, and the pattern that price follows is static and natural, as anything in nature. It says natural to rotation of the planets, the Fibonacci ratio, the sun rising in the east and setting in the west. You can believe it or not believe it, but Gann believed God created all of creation. He also concluded that it was impossible for there to be any randomness in nature or in human behavior, because a God that who created everything must have a supreme order and logic to his creation. And in a way, you know, he was kind of addressing. Oh yes, let me do that quick. Let me get those posted in here. What did I do that one? Okay. And the gold one, I'm not sure what's going on with that gold one. It does not want to post this one. I don't know why. That's so weird. Okay, thanks, George. Yeah, I don't know why it's weird that I don't know, Telegram's funky sometimes. So, right. So, back to the whole crypto thing. So, we have that, and then also July 1st. This is a financial astrology thing. July 1st, Uranus exits Taurus, and actually it's in, and then there's a retrograde cycle, but Uranus is in Taurus for a while now, and so that causes a whole lot of changes in all the financial markets. And actually, I want to go through that too. And then on June 26th, one of the most important things to watch for the year is that Mars goes retrograde on June 26th, and anything involving Mars is a big deal in cryptocurrencies. I don't know why, but Mars is Gann called Mars the kind of the key for timing markets, or he called it the trigger of the markets. You know, we didn't really get a whole lot of big stuff from him later in life because he just started to talk more, I guess, as openly as you can consider Gann to be about astronomical phenomena and price action. So it's a little anyways, gotta find it here. Okay, yeah, I'd written this 11 days ago. I had this on my Steemit blog. actually, before I do that, just double check these cryptos. We've had a huge throwdown in price in cryptos. We actually reached on Sunday, we reached new yearly lows in Bitcoin by $100. So we went down to 5,700 versus 5,800, and yeah, that was the change. And otherwise, we found some big buying support, and we're seeing some signs that we may have some changes in the direction here. But if you look at the volume bars themselves, there's still a lot of bear control. There's a whole lot of selling that is going on still. We're not seeing a lot of supportive bullish buying yet. So we could actually move lower, possibly, but still I'm looking at a very strong supportive position in the future here. You're certainly looking forward into the 7th of July for all of these cryptocurrencies. But anyways, I had written this article on Steemit. Cryptocurrency financial astrology has not happened since 1935. So something that has not happened since 1935 was when Uranus entered Taurus. And whenever that changes, violent market reactions happen. And it's not just violent market reactions. There's generally other political things that happen. But we need to understand that the behavior of Uranus in financial astrology, and again, financial astrology is not how you can, I think I maybe even made a little joke about it. Your author does not wear a tinfoil hat nor toss chicken bones. Financial astrology is the third block of financial analysis. It's mathematical psychology based on the science of astronomy. We're looking for natural conditions and sentiment that have been identified at certain longitudinal coordinations of planets. For example, we know that every major economic calamity has been during a Saturn-Uranus cycle. So it makes sense to look for those, just like we know that every major economic calamity is preceded by an extreme and important market high. Okay, we've never seen in any market, as far back to Egyptian grain records, we've never seen any type of market calamity happen because there was some type of market low and then some type of economic thing happened. We always see economic calamities after a period of irrational exuberance, to quote Alan Greenspan. And so Uranus is the signal of change. It symbolizes technology and innovation as well. More than anything else, it's a harbinger of change in the status quo. And then that enters into Taurus. So the angular nature of where Taurus is in space, they just call that Taurus. That's the money sign. Taurus is the bull. Taurus is associated with markets, commodities. It represents consistency, stability, security. That is what Taurus represents. So when this happens, probably more importantly, what we will see is that things that have been stable for a while become unstable because Uranus causes change. And I think we've already kind of dubbed Big Red Truck know what I'm going to talk about, or what I'm mentioning is that the behavior of humans in the past during this type of cycle is that we have currency fluctuations. We have changes in currency ideas. We have change in value. We have changes in what is what am I trying to say? Changes in the way that we interpret the value or the things that are considered a stable medium of change. Trying to find my little article. Give me a minute here. Well, I mean, just think of it. Change into the market hasn't happened since 1935. I mean, what are we, talking how many currencies do not exist anymore since 1935? Just ballpark. Who knows? I mean, we've got Germany's mark went through many different phases. The dollar went through many different phases. It was on the gold, it was off the gold. Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, Austro-Hungary, Tibet, South Vietnam. I mean, there's a whole, well, Indochina rather. There's a whole slew of nations who, due to colony, due to like a lot of imperial powers like France, Germany, and Great Britain, their old colonies stopped using those currencies. They created their own sovereign currencies. We have a huge amount of changes in national sovereign currency changes that happen, not just globally, but in, well, yeah, not just globally, but in specifically to individual countries. And I think maybe if you want to think about this, in like the 30s is pretty much when you started to see the end of the pound as a dominant world currency. It was still dominant, but it was no longer, you could see the sun was finally setting on the British pound, and it was the ascendance of the dollar. And so what does that mean in our time with this? I mean, not trying to futurecast anything, but cryptocurrencies are the single most deviant instrument to currencies in, I don't know, since gold was coined. Because we've always had currency either go from, currencies have always either been backed by a commodity like gold, or they've been backed by a fiat paper system like we have now. So things go, and because everybody says, oh, every fiat currency has failed. Yeah, so has every commodity backed currency has failed too. Bitcoin is something different. It's very different. It's more like a commodity, yeah, but its value is derived from the trust associated with it. I mean, we could spend days going over this, but Bitcoin is a change. And I tell you what, Uranus entering Taurus, that is a symbol of change into the status quo of money and the market. I don't think it's a coincidence that when that happened, because Taurus, or Uranus actually entered Taurus back on May 15th, right? And this is really around when we started to see the apex of a lot of news about Bitcoin. This is the SEC debate about cryptocurrencies, the CFTA's commodities futures, CFTCA. Well, I'm getting the abbreviation messed up, but anyways, and then we just had the Fed has created their own cryptocurrency department of some sort. I think. Well, it got legitimized by the Fed or something. I can't remember the news article. You Google it, you'll find it. Okay. Anyways, so this is going to be the big change, and that's what we're experiencing right now. And so a lot of these old guard currencies are going to, including the dollar, are going to find a lot of difficulty remaining in the future as a source of a stable medium of trade. Anyways, that's on that. So quick review of our trades. They're saying that Telegram is working now. We have a short on the US dollar, Canadian dollar. And then we have a long on gold. If we go back up to 1271.92, that's based on the 1 hour Ichimoku system. We have two short options on the dollar yen. That's if we get back up to the baseline on the hourly, or if we cross back below the conversion line on the hourly. The pound dollar, we're long just based on its current value area and based on the market geometry. Aussie dollar, US dollar, we're long at 74.41. If we can cross back above there, that's based on the 1 hour Ichi. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, same issue. And then the pound and Aussie dollar, we want to go long at 79.85. That's based on the 1 hour and the 4 hour Ichi. I think I wrote 1 hour and 1 hour. It's supposed to be 1 hour and 4 hour. That's on the pound Aussie dollar. Where are you at? Right there. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, I think we have some great trades ahead of us this week. I think we're going to have a good time. Just, really, again, want to point out that we're getting into the summer, and we are in the summer. And so we are going to see a drop-off in volume. We're going to see a drop-off in participation. We're going to see a continuation of moves that just seem silly, but that is just because it's the summertime. This is a lot like trying to trade during the holidays. It sucks. This is the worst. This is my least favorite time to trade is the summer because I love to trade. It's how I make my living. And I know the weather's nice outside, but you got to work to get paid. But I think we've had some really great weeks. The MAM account, I just wanted to point out that I closed the MAM account for the month up $40,000. That's of 106.47, I think, percent, 106% time weighted average return in the 4 months that MAM account has been open. The total return, so people keep deposit, as people are depositing money in the MAM account, it affects the average. But I think it's at a 50% return on the total average. The average return based on total deposits is 50%, which is pretty damn good. Anyways, I'm pretty excited about our trade week this week. We're going to make some money. And, hope you guys have a good first trading day on this Monday. And I look forward to talking with you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.